Hello everyone, welcome to Python programming lab session. The next exercise is file handling based application development. So when you create a Python based application program, sometimes you want to store data in a file, sometimes you want to read data from a file. So if you write some data when you are working with the application, when you write some data in a file, later it can be accessed by the application. So here in this exercise, the major objective is you will be practicing how to read a data from a file, the similar way how to write data to the file. So for that, let's start with the introduction, how to open a file in a read mode as well as in a write mode, and how to write the data in a file, how to read the data from a file. We'll practice with an example program also. We'll start with the introduction. So in Python programming, so there is a very important function called open function in Python programming. So we can use this open function to read data from a file, to write, as well as we can perform both operations like reading and writing logic. So in this function, first we need to give a file location. So that is the first parameter we need to pass. Then second parameter is actually we have to set the mode of operation, whether you want to read or write, or you want to do both operations. So here you can see the mode of operation can be R. So R means read operation. So this is a default option, default mode of operation. So when you open a file in R mode, we can only perform read operations. We can read the data from file. And if you open a file using A option, which is a append mode, so we can write data to the file, and since it is append mode, the data will be written along with the existing content. The old content will not be deleted. And we have another option called W. So W is for write mode. Here, when you open a file in writing mode, the old content will be deleted and new content will be written. And if you want to create a file, we can open a file using X mode. So by using this open function, we can open a file for reading as well as writing. So as we discussed, we have an open function where we need to pass the path name, the location of the file name, and the mode of operation. And once you open, we can use read function for reading, and we have a function called write function for writing the data in a file. And after writing the data, we can close the file by using close function. Sometimes you want to read data in a line by line. If you want to read, we can use f dot read line function we can use. So these are the basic functions of how to functions used for accessing the file content and writing the file content as well as reading the file content. So first, let's start with the reading a data from a file by using read function. So if you want to read data from a file, first we need to use a read function. It reads the entire content of the file and it will return as a string format. So from that string format we can access the data. So this is a sample code for reading data from a file. So first we need to create a file object by using open function. The open function returns a file object based on the mode of operation. First we need to give the file name and the mode of operation we have to set. Then we have to use the read method f.read. So this read method is used for reading the content, entire content, and it returns the data as a text format as a one single string object. So which we can store in another variable. Later we can display it. So the same program, so I'm going to demonstrate in a PyCharm IDE. So in PyCharm IDE, we can create a project. So after creating a project, we can include a Python file by selecting right click the project and select the Python file. So here I'm going to add one Python file. sample Python file I have. I'm selecting Python file. So now the file is created. So here we can write the program how to read a file content and display the file content. So first we need to create a file. So here this is a Python program code. I want to create a file also to put some content so that I can read the data from the file. So first I will create a text file. So text file you can create by using the normal file. Select, right click, new, select file. So for example, here I will put the name as vmax.txt. So I have created a file called vmax.txt. So here I'll put some content. Welcome to CSC. Another content, welcome. Another content, hello. Next content. So this is the content of the file. I'm going to save it in this file. Right. So we have a file called vmax.txt. So this file, I want to read the content from this file and I want to display. So first we need to create a file object, open function. The file name is vmax.txt. The mode of file should be R for reading. So we have to use R mode. Now the file is opened. We can read the data. So data is equal to file.read. So now the file content is copied to this variable data. Now from this data we can able to process the file content. For example, we can display the file content by using print function. Now let's see the output. Now see the output window. We can see the file content, whatever file text data we have written in the file, we can able to access using a Python program using this function, open function. So this is an example how to read a file content. So once we read a file content, what we can do it. So once you read the file content, we can process the content of the file. For example, you can access the character by character we can access. For accessing character by character, we can run a for loop. After reading the content, we can run a for loop and we can able to access every character. So here I'm displaying every content, entire content from this data variable, right? So now if you want to process character by character, so what we can do is we can run a for loop. So using for loop, we can access every character. So first we need to start with a for and we need to create one variable called ch. So it can be any variable, you can use I or j, any variable you can use it. So let us assume that ch is a variable and there is an operator called in operator which will access character, which will generate characters from the string. So here the string is data. Now this for loop will generate characters from the string. So we can able to access character by character. For example, ch. Now we can see the output here. Now the output is different, looks different. It is printing character by character because since I am iterating every character from the data content of the file from this string data, we can able to see how to access character by character. Now the same program we can convert as a, if you want to filter only vowels. There are so many things we can do with this particular program. So for example, you want to display only vowels from the file, vowels A, E, I, O, U, right? So what you can do is we can create one vowels array. So you can create one vowels list A, comma I, A, E, then I, then O, then U. So first we need to create a vowels. So here I am assuming it as only small letters. So if you want cap letter, we have to give cap letter also. Now I have a list of vowels. Now I can compare this every character CH, whether this CH is matching with any of these vowels in the list or not. If it is matching, okay, I want to print only the matching vowels. So we can put a if condition. Before printing this, we can check if ch is in vowels or not. So here also in operator is actually working as a, when we are using with the if condition, in operator checks whether the character is available in the list or not. So if it is available in the list, we can print it. So now here you can see we are filtering only the vowels from the file content. So file content vmax.txt we are reading. So here this is a content. Here I am not displaying all the characters. I am displaying only the vowels. Based on the logic, I am filtering it based on this if condition. The if condition filter only the vowels, since it is checking this every character is available in this list or not. So this is a list data structure in Python. Okay. So this is one application how to, after reading the file content, what we can perform. After reading the file content, we can process character by character, and we can filter the vowels. There are so many things we can perform after reading the file content. The same way, we can also read line by line by using a normal for loop also. So let's see how to do reading line by line using normal for loop. For example, here I'll just comment this. So after reading this file, or else I'll comment this also. So I'll create a new code here, right? Now I want to read line by line. I want to read line by line. For example, in this vmax.txt, I have welcome to CSC, welcome, hello, good morning. 4 lines are there, right? So I want to read a line by line. So what we can do is, after creating a file object by calling open function, we have to use a for loop directly in the file object itself. How to do that? Start with a for. You can create one variable name. Variable you can create. For example, let it be line. Line is a variable name in file object. So if you pass file object directly, it will take line by line from the file. So now we can able to print line. Now you can see from this file, welcome to CSE, we are, it is reading the first line, welcome to CSE, during first iteration. After that, it is printing the new line character. So that's why you are getting one gap over here. After printing welcome to CSE, we are getting one a new line. So if you want to stop that new line while printing, we can end with, by default it will, print statement ends with a new line, right? Print statement ends with a new line. So we have to avoid that by using empty string. We can use empty string, end equal to empty string. So now see the output. We can remove that empty line by using this end parameter. So end is equal to empty string. So this way we can read line by line. So this is one way of reading a line by line. Suppose if you want to read a line by line in another way, there is one alternate method called, by using a, there is a function called read lines. This read lines function read the entire content of a file and return as a list of lines. So the result will be a list. So here you need to understand the return type of this function is a list, which contains the lines as a items inside the list. So for example, after reading the file, after opening a file, when we use file dot read lines, it will read the entire content and return as a list. Now the data is not a string, it is a list. Now you can see, when you see the output, you can see it is a list data structure where you can see every line of the file. So this is a file, right? Every line of file is actually converted as a items inside the list, right? So we can able to further iterate using a for loop. So let's see one example here. The same program. So this one I'll comment like this, right? So first we need to open the file. Now we want to create a list of lines, right? So we can create a lines equal to file dot read lines. So read lines function returns a set of lines in a list format. Okay, the format is list. Now we can able to iterate every line from the list lines. So this is another way of alternate method how to access line by line. Here the advantage is that data will be coming as a list format, so that you can perform whatever operation you want to perform as a list inside list. You can do that. That is another advantage of using this read lines function. So here also we have to use read end parameter so that we can avoid the empty line printing. So now let's see the output here. You can see the file content is accessible. So this way we can read the data from the file. In summary, so to read a file content, first we need to use open function and the file location and the mode of operation we have to use. Then either we can use the read function, or you can use the file directly in the for loop and we can read line by line. If you are using read function, it returns, for example, I'll just uncomment this. So when you are using read function, it returns a data in a string format, and further you can process by using a for loop. And we can also read line by line. So this is a line by line reading, and this is also line by line reading by using read lines method. So these are the ways we can read data from a file content, right? So next we move on to the next, a small practice exercise. For example, assume that you want to open a file in a read mode and do the following operation. You want to display the contents of the file, so that we have discussed how to display the file content. And sometimes you want some constraint will be there. Display only the words having number of letters above 5. So let's see how to do this program. So I'll create one more program, second program. So here, so first we need to open a file. So vmax.txt in read mode. So after opening a file, next thing is we have to read as a set of words. Okay, so in this particular thing, so first thing is already we discussed, display the contents of the file. That is very simple. We can display like this: data equal to file dot read. We can display using print. So first task is over. So next, second task, display only the words having number of letters above 5. So for that, here we have accessed the file content and we have stored the data in a data variable, right? So from this data variable, we want to work on words. So words means how the words will be decided based on the spaces, right? So whenever the space comes, that particular thing is called as particular set of characters actually forming a word. So we need to split whenever the space comes. Whenever the space comes, we need to split. So we can create a words from this data by calling a data dot split method. We can use a split function, which is a string function in Python programming. So the split function split the string whenever there is a space. Okay. So, and it returns words in a list format. It returns a set of words in a list format. After getting the words, we can iterate every word in that particular collection of words. So I'm creating a word variable. Word is the variable I'm introducing word in words. Now I want to check the length of the word is above 5 or not. So to check length of the length of the word, we can use a string function. Again, string function. If length of word is greater than 5, then particular word I want to print it. We can print the particular word. So first we need to read the data from the file. Then we have to split by using a split function. Then you'll be getting a list of words. We can iterate every word from this list of words. We can check the length by calling length of word is greater than 5 or not. If it is greater than 5, we can print it. Right. So now look at this. The first output is I'm printing the entire content of the file. Entire content is this one. Here from this entire content, I want filter only the words which has the length above 5. Okay, the length above 5 according to this logic. So this is one practice example. You can use it for completing this exercise. The next we are going to see how to write data in a file. To write data in a file, you need to use a write function. There is a function called write, and we have to pass the data which you want to write. This is very simple. Let's try one example. We'll create another program. Right click the project, add a new Python file. This is the third program. Here I'm going to demonstrate how to write data in a file. So first we need to create a file. We need to open a file. We need to create a file, and we have to open a file in writing mode. So file I'm going to create. I have already one file is there, vmax.txt. I'm going to create a new file, abc.txt, right? And this file, if I want to write data in this file, we need to open this file in a writing mode. So we have to open in the file writing mode. So how to do that? The second parameter must be a W. So the file is open in a writing mode. But here you can see abc.txt is not available, right? So how it is actually open? Here this function, if the mode is right, if the mode is W, it will create a file if the file is not exist. Okay, the file will be created if file not exist. Okay, file will be created automatically if the file is not exist. Okay, once we open the file in writing mode, we can use write function to write the data. For example, I want to write I love Python. Okay, right. So next we can write some other content. Okay, welcome to Python programming. The same way I want to write many content. So after writing, to confirmation, we can print one message writing is completed. Okay, this is way we have to write the data. Now see the output. Now when we are executing the program, we can see the writing is completed message we got. Now this message is not enough. We have to verify whether the content is written in the file or not, right? So we have to go to that project folder. Here you can see abc.txt is created. You can open that file and you can see that content is written. I love Python. Welcome to Python. Hello. But everything is written in a single line, right? Without a new line, it is written, right? So if you want to provide a new line, we always you have to use a slash and character after writing a particular line. So for example, after writing I love Python, we can place one new line /n. After writing every content, you can place a new line. So this new line creates a new line character will create a new line. So the next content move to the next line. So if I run the program again, writing is completed, and when we open abc.txt, now the content is changed. After writing I love Python, the next content is coming in the next line, right? So now to place a new line, we have to use this particular character. So that's all about writing a data in a file. Just one function only. You need to understand this W. It is for writing data. It will create a file automatically if the file is not exist, and it will open the file in write mode, right? So here also we'll see one more example, one more exercise, practice exercise. For example, you read this question. Open a file in read mode and display all the words having number of letters above 5. We have to display all the words having number of letters above 5 at the same time, and look at this and write those words in another file called 5.txt. We can see how we can do this program. Okay, this particular exercise, let's see. First we need to read the file content, and we have to filter only the words, the words having a number of letters above 5, right? And we have to write those words in the another file called 5.txt. So now to understand this question, now to practice this, so we'll create another program. Fourth, so read the question, open a file in read mode. Okay, first we need to open a file. For example, I want to open this vmax.txt, and I want to read the content and display the 5 letters word, not 5 letters word, the length above 5 I want to display. Okay, so for that already we have written the code. Let's go to that program. So this is a program. You can copy this entire code. Okay, so here, so in the previously we discussed about how to read and the file content and how to display the uh, words the word, how to display only the words whose length is above 5, right? So for that, first we have to read the file content, split, then iterate every word, check the length. Okay, then we are displaying it. Okay, so when we run the program, you can see welcome, welcome, morning. So all the words actually having total number of characters above 5. Now here the question is different. After displaying the words, write those words in another file. That also we have to do. Okay, so after printing that, we can write in another file also. Okay, so for that we can create another file, file 2. We can open another file. The file name is 5.txt. File name is 5.txt. In WO mode we have to open. Okay, so the file.txt is supposed to open in a WO mode. Now where to write the data? After checking whether the word is the length is greater than 5, we are printing it, right? So after printing, we can also write that word in this file 2. So now file 2 having the words having above 5 letters, 5 characters. Okay, so when we run the program, so after doing this, we can run the program. When we run the program, in the output also we can able to see the greater than 5 letter words. And in this left side in the project, one more file is created called 5.txt. Okay, so when you open that 5.txt, you can see the words is available, welcome, morning, right? But it is coming in one line. So we can solve that problem by attaching. When we write, you have to concatenate /n. When you write a word, you have to concatenate /n. Now when we execute, and if you open that 5.txt, you can see greater than 5-letter words you can able to see in the 5.txt, right? So in this program you can able to understand how to read the data from one file and how to write the data after processing, after filtering, or after doing something, how to write the data in another file. We can able to understand, right? Right. So this is actually the second process, writing data in a file. So using these two topics, you have to complete this exercise. Thank you all.